Yes, yes, fight fans, body and mind sports, my people. You are fully appreciated in this round, my guys, my people. Let's get right into it. So, let's talk about it. I want to talk Dana White and Zuffa boxing versus Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Now, we know the real rivalry is Dana White and Zuffa versus the rest of the promotions. However, at the forefront of this rivalry has been mainly Dana White and Eddie Hearn with their war of words and their challenges to one another to actually fight in the ring, you know. So, yeah, the rivalry is very strong. But I think it's going to take on a new phase now, right? Especially as both parties put on incredible main events this past weekend. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Starting with Eddie Hearn in Sheffield. He had Josh Padley headlining against Aquib Fiaz, a 130-pound division fight. And it was an incredible fight. I enjoyed every part of it. And I can only describe this fight as a skillfully fought battle of attrition. And I think both fighters executed their game plan perfectly. And it was just a case of the best man won on the night, you know. And the judges' scorecards reflected that perfectly, where we had one judge scoring it 115, 112 Padley. Right, another judge had it 114, 113 Fiaz, whilst Judge Mark Lyson had it 114, 113 Padley. So Padley winning via majority decision. However, had it not been for Fiaz losing a point, a point was deducted off him in the 10th or the 11th round for low blows, which he had been warned for. So he'll be kicking himself. Had he not lost that point, it would have been a majority decision draw. It would have been a majority decision draw. So, yeah, he done himself wrong there. But if you still had it Fiaz winning, I had no complaints. If you had it Josh Padley winning, I'm even more okay with that. Obviously, because the bout was that closely contested, my people. It was that. Oh man, it was a good fight to watch. But I think Fiaz did expose something about Padley, that he's got a weakness to the body. I also saw this about Padley in his fight against Reese Belotti, and the team is going to have to check on that. They're going to have to check on that because, as according to Eddie Hearn, Padley, they're not going to be surveying the domestic scene much longer with Padley, and they are now looking to move on to world level. Eddie Hearn suspects that Padley is world level material, and so they are moving him on the trajectory to a title shot. He is ranked number 8 in the WBA, right? So it looks like he's heading to the trajectory of Anto Kakashi, the WBA champion, and should he win a voluntary title defense, then Padley, ranked in the top 10, is right up his lane, isn't it? He is right up his lane. But should Padley choose another champion, it really doesn't get any easier. And Anto Kakashi himself is a tough challenge, you know. The other champions in the division are Emmanuel Navarrete, IBF WBO champion, and then we have WBC champion Oshaki Foster. It gets no easier if you are gunning for a title at 130. And we really don't know whether Padley is world level yet. So let's wait and see if Eddie Hearn's suspicions are right. Let's wait and see. As for Fiaz, I've not followed his career that well, but it's obvious it's going to be a rebuilding stage for him. Maybe starting from the domestic level. But let's see what happens with him going forward. Now, with that said, let's jump on to the Zuffa 7 card in Bournemouth. We had Chris Billiam-Smith versus Ryan Rozickie. What an absolute hellish fight. Rozickie is just a really, really atrocious fighter. full of grit. Is very, very tough and hard to break down, and he was bringing the fight all night. But good thing for Chris Billiam-Smith that Rozickie does not care about defense. He literally blocks everything with his face. And by the second round, he was already cut over one eye. And by the end of the sixth round, which I thought was Chris Billiam-Smith's best round, Rozickie was bleeding profusely and was also cut above the other eye. So he was sustaining a lot of damage in this fight, you know. But at the end of the sixth round, I had it a close fight with Chris Billiam-Smith only up by 2 rounds. So Rozickie was still well in the fight. He was still well in the fight. So I was surprised really that his corner didn't bring him out for the 7th round. They did not bring him out for the 7th round. So yeah, we had Chris Billiam-Smith winning this one via retiring Rozickie in his corner. But according to Rozickie, you know, his take on the fight, while speaking to Boxing News on their YouTube channel, he stated that when he went back to his corner, the blood was pouring in his eye, and so he said to his team that he can't see, but he reckons there was a bit of miscommunication there, a bit of misunderstanding as well, and the team thought that he was hurt that bad that they had to pull him out. You know, so quite unfortunate for Rozickie, because according to Rozickie, all he needed was the towel to wipe the blood away from his eyes, and he would have been good enough to continue. So very unfortunate for him. Still, I'm not going to take away the credit from Chris Billiam-Smith. I think he showed up and he showed out, showing the better defense, superiority in fundamentals. He was slipping a lot of shots, getting hit a lot, but he was slipping a lot, catching a lot on the guard as well, and returning fire with greater accuracy and harder shots, ultimately harder shots, and that was what gave him the fight ultimately. Now the co-main was actually really good as well. We had Chev Clark putting up a tremendous fight against Jack Massey. Jack Massey really tall, very lanky. You know, it looked like 2 different weight classes in there. But Chev Clark, after getting floored twice in the 4th round, was able to show great recovery to go on to turn things around and actually stop Massey in the 7th round, my guys, my people, after dropping him twice. And I think that was absolutely incredible. Some might say the stoppage from the referee was a bit early. Maybe they might have a point, but I didn't really see any protest. I didn't really see any protest from Jack Massey. So to me, that's good enough sign that it was a good stoppage. That is well and good and a great win. But Clark, who since his loss to Vidal Riley, when did he lose to Vidal Riley? I think it was last year, right? It was last year. Last year. Hold on. Yeah, so he lost to Vidal Riley in April of last year, and that was his second loss back to back, because before that he lost to another fighter by the name of Leonardo Moscow, and since then he's been on the rebuilding phase, isn't it? So good for him. He's managed to save his career with this win over Massey. You know, so since Vidal Riley, this is 2 wins on the trot. This is a great win against Massey. I'm wondering what Zuffa Boxing is going to do with Chef Clark now. Are they going to feed him to Opetia? Or are they going to match him up in a title eliminator with Chris Billiam-Smith? Now, that title eliminator, it would be jeopardy for Chris Billiam-Smith, I reckon. And Billiam-Smith has a good following. He sells tickets, obviously. And I should think that Zuffa would want to take advantage of that and match him up with Opetia. And he is a better scalp than Noel McCallion, who Opetia is trying to fight next, the WBC champion Noel McCallion. And you know, Jai's Ring Magazine title is on the line. He's not even fighting for McCallion's WBC strap. So what's the point? What's the point? You might as well fight Chris Billiam-Smith, former WBO champion, who is ranked number 3 cruiserweight according to the Ring Magazine. You know, and he's had so many great scalps on his own record. You know, he's had Isaac Chamberlain, Richard Riakpo, Lawrence Okoli, Lawrence Okoli, not Siobhan Clark, Brandon Glanton, right? And now Rozickie, man, get that scalp and bolster up Opetia's resume, bolster up his Zuffa championship, right? And his Ring Magazine championship needs bolstering up as well. So it makes sense to me to make CBS. It makes sense to make CBS. CBS also wants that fight next, my guys. And it's best to make it while CBS still has momentum about him. If he starts losing and starts losing a fraction of his fan base, man, Zuffa would have missed the window of opportunity. So I think they should forget about McCallion and focus on Chris Billiam-Smith. Focus on Chris Billiam-Smith. They promised to build Jai, right? The opportunity is there. Build him. Build him. Now, with that said, yeah, man. So overall, this Zuffa 7 show was a huge success. It looked like a big turnout when you're looking at the TV screen from your home couch. It looks like a big turnout, right? And Johnny Nelson, who was actually in attendance, he said that there were actually 6,000 fans in attendance at the Bournemouth International on the night. 6K. Man, does that prove that Chris Billiam-Smith is clearly still a draw? Definitely still a draw. You know, in his hometown. So good success for Zuffa. Successful night for Zuffa. But Eddie Hearn isn't pleased. He seems triggered, I have to say. Eddie Hearn on the stomping ground, speaking with Charlie Parsons, he was quick to refute that number by Johnny Nelson. You know, I'm taking a swipe at Johnny Nelson, even saying that his numbers are a bit over adventurous. Basically, the center only has a capacity of 2K. So I don't know who to believe here, but 6,000 is like 3 times bigger than 2,000, isn't it? So it should be easy to tell, especially with Johnny Nelson's experience of attending shows. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Yes, it does matter, obviously, because Eddie Hearn is triggered, and I think he feels threatened. He feels threatened, man. He does feel threatened. He feels a new threat from Zuffa, that their rivalry is now climbing onto a new phase now, right? Where he's soon no longer going to be capable of ridiculing Zuffa for putting on their in-house shows in the very tiny Apex venue, which only had a capacity of, I think, a couple hundred, you know. So he can't ridicule him for that anymore. Now he's becoming a real threat, slowly getting there, you know. Now that he's putting out shows outside of the Apex, and it's successful, right? He's doing a couple thousands, according to Eddie Hearn. It could be more, according to Johnny Nelson, right? And if you compare that 2,000 even that you know, Eddie Hearn says is the actual capacity of the international center, that 2,000 is not far off from the Josh Padley show, you know, that Eddie Hearn held on the same night in Sheffield. The Josh Padley show, according to Eddie Hearn, was around 3,000 fans in attendance. So, judging by the numbers, comparing 2,000 to 3,000, it shows that Zuffa on UK soil, at least to a certain level, I mean, at domestic level even, right, that Zuffa can compete with Matchroom in terms of the size of shows that they can put on. They can compete with Matchroom, and Eddie Hearn recognizes that, and he's definitely shaking up a little bit, I reckon. Yeah, he's shaking up a little bit. Now, about this show, right, Eddie Hearn did admit he has not seen the show, right, and he gave his thoughts, and this was his thoughts. He said this, quote, "I don't think Zuffa has broken into the top 10 as a promotion anywhere or globally. I said it earlier, and it was no disrespect to Ben Shalom, but Ben Shalom is on another level to Zuffa. The shows that Ben puts on, to be fair, even though he's fairly new to the game, the knowledge that he has about boxing is on another level to Zuffa. They just don't get it. Dana White's vision is to bring a couple of WWE geezers and do a Q&A on a Friday, or do a grey ring mat and make everyone wear Zuffa's terrible gloves and shorts. That's the vision. Incredible body of work. Incredible body of work. End quotation. A fair bit of sarcasm there by Eddie Hearn. Of course, he's taking his usual pattern of ridiculing Dana White and Zuffa boxing, and he says Zuffa boxing is no competition. Basically, they're not even top 10 in the world, according to Eddie Hearn, right? So yeah, it may be true right now. I wouldn't say there are no competition though. I would just say right now they are not onto the big shows yet. They're not onto the big shows featuring two elite fighters just yet. They're not onto that. Eddie Hearn's body of work, Zuffa cannot compare to right now. Zuffa cannot lace up Eddie Hearn's shoes right now. But Zuffa is doing their thing. They are doing their thing. And if they can keep consistent with the great matchmaking that they are doing, even with the level of the fighters who they are doing it with, they're seeing success in that area, and I'm telling you, that is bringing the heat. Those shows are hot, and the fight fans, they actually love it. And you know, from there, everything else will become secondary. The Zuffa logos on the gloves, the grey uniforms, the Q&As, all that will come secondary. I don't like them myself, the Q&As and the uniform wearing and all that. Yes, I do call it a uniform, but yeah, all that will come secondary to the fight fans, as long as Zuffa keeps you know, doing great with their matchmaking. It's just as that. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. The end product is what matters, you know. And in terms of the fighters, they'll just go to the highest bidder. Zuffa now also is showing a willingness to work with the sanctioning bodies. So if they want to go on a poaching spree, it's even easier for them now. It is even easier for them to poach the big name fighters, the champions, legacy fighters, right? Champions, legacy fighters. And from Eddie's own mouth, was he not the one that broke the news that Shakur Stevenson has gone to Zuffa? Now that has yet to be officially confirmed, but rumors also circulating that Devin Haney is also at Zuffa, and that Zuffa is actually trying to make that fight. They are, you know, bouncing and bumping into a couple difficulties, but the fact is that they're trying to make that fight. You know, so yeah. And let's not forget Richardson Hitchens, former IBF champion that went to Zuffa, lost his championship as a consequence. He's at Zuffa, right? Edgar Berlanga at Zuffa, Conor Ben at Zuffa, Ja Opetia at Zuffa. And you know what all of these fighters have in common? Well, they were all contracted to Matchroom at one point or another. And they all left when their contracts ended. But it was at a point when Matchroom, right? It was at a point when Matchroom, well, was still very much invested in these fighters. Matchroom was still very much invested in the fighters, and they still, these fighters still had potential value. They still had value overall. They still had potential, and they still had value. So imagine how many more valuable fighters these promotions, including Eddie Hearn, are going to lose if Dana and Zuffa decide that they're going to go around snooping, trying to poach when end dates to contracts come around for fighters. Imagine how many more valuable fighters they are going to lose. Imagine Ben Whittaker leaving Matchroom. Don't dare imagine. Imagine Hamza Shiraz leaving Queensbury Promotions. Don't dare imagine. Don't dare imagine. Now imagine Adam Azim leaving Ben Shalom. Boy, that will kill Ben Shalom. That will kill Ben Shalom, my guys, my people. And in terms of those big shows that Eddie Hearn is boasting about, you know, saying that he's got Bam Rodriguez and Antonio Vargas about to do 13K in Phoenix, Arizona. Boost Zayas about to do 16K in New York. He boasts about Anthony Joshua and Fury coming up. Katie Taylor doing 40K pre-sales. Now, that is very interesting. Katie Taylor did 40K on ticket sales pre-sale. It hasn't even gone out to the general public yet, and she's already done 40K. So she's made a good head start to filling that 80,000 at Croke Park. To tell you the truth, I thought it would be a huge challenge, but Katie Taylor is proving that she is much loved and widely loved, you know. So this is incredible, man. Seeing that she's even doing this number with an opposition who goes by the name Flora Pili, who nobody hardly recognizes, right? So yeah, this is great by Katie Taylor. She's definitely a name. Why couldn't they do this earlier on in her career? Why couldn't they? I don't know. I guess it's because it is her final fight, right? Yeah, man, but good job, Taylor. Now, yeah, so Eddie Hearn is boasting about his fighters and big fights that he can put on. You know, Ben Whittaker, he's going to be in big fights soon. He says, bam, and anyway, potentially could happen. He mentioned Dalton Smith and Puello coming up. Callum Smith versus Boatsy being targeted for a 7v7 Matchroom and Queensbury card. And he says that is body of work. Yes, there is body of work. It is body of work. But some of those fighters, let's not forget that Zuffa could pick them off. If the price is right, or should I say, if the offer is right, Zuffa could pick them off. Guaranteed, especially now that they are willing to work with the sanctioning bodies and with the financial backing that they have. It's easy work, man. It's easy work. Fighters go to the highest bidder. They go to the highest bidder. And in terms of making those huge fights, Zuffa is working on Ryan Garcia versus Conor Ben. That's going to be a huge fight for the WBC strap as well at 147. Devin and Shakur, Zuffa is working on that. They are working on that. There's some politics to iron out, but they are showing potential to be able to make these fights. Opetia Benavides, now that will be a miracle, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. It does not mean it can't happen. And all I can see is that Zuffa is closing in on soon making the big fights and rivaling the big promotions like a Matchroom, Queensbury Promotions, Golden Boy Promotions, Top Rank in terms of the shows that they can put on. They are soon going to be there. They are soon going to be there. And you know what is dangerous about Zuffa? They could be putting on these shows at the expenses of these other promotions, because they are likely to poach a fighter to put on their card for one of these huge promotions. For one of these huge promotions. So Eddie Hearn, mind it. Don't be blindsided, right? Better hold on to your fighters. Do your damn best to hold on to your fighters when Zuffa comes snooping around at the end of contracts. And it seems like Zuffa doesn't even have to wait to end of contracts no more, because they poached 3 fighters for their Zuffa 7 card. I'm hearing Chris Williams-Smith, Sam Hickey, maybe Jack Massey as well, poached from Boxer. This is according to Ben Shalom, whilst they are still in contract with Ben Shalom. So Ben Shalom is going to chase Zuffa and Sky with legal ramifications. Dana White has refuted this, you know, but let's see what happens. Eddie Hearn is egging on Ben Shalom to go rogue, telling him you have absolutely nothing to lose. I guess it's a case of my worst enemy's enemy is my best friend, right? So they need each other now to have a united front. I guess a united front against Zuffa. They just front in. I don't think they can ever be, you know, close like that. But miracles do happen. Who knows? But yeah, Eddie Hearn is egging him on, you know, to go rogue. He has nothing to lose. That he's capital F'd basically. I don't know what that means, go rogue, right? It's just a matter of if Ben Shalom has a case, and if it's Zuffa who are in the wrong here, then he has every reason to stand up for himself and what belongs to him, right? So if that means backing himself up with legal ramifications, then legal ramifications it is. It's that easy, my guys, my people. Now, Ben Shalom, in terms of keeping himself safe, good news, because he has now signed to Dazn. He has a long-term contract with Dazn now, so he has a major broadcaster on team now that can run concurrently with the BBC contract that he has. And this Dazn contract is going to kick off on the 8th of August with Callum Simpson and Troy Williamson, 2 for the EBU 160 pounds, 168 pounds title, my guys, my people. And yeah, exciting. The first one, Callum Simpson was dropped 4 times in the 10th round before getting taken out, and yeah, Troy Williamson won that one. It wasn't upset, you know, and it was his biggest fight. Now the rematch is going to be even bigger because he's going to get the lion's share, right? For him it will be bigger anyway. He's the champion now, and he's not happy with Ben Shalom, because, you know, if he didn't give Callum Smith a rematch, he couldn't fight any other person, so he's not happy about that. But that's just it's just the nature of the game, man. It's the nature of the game. If you sign something, you gotta fight. But yeah, good for Ben Shalom. He will get that extra protection now from from Dazn, you know, and you will have more dates for one. You will have more dates, bigger budgets for any fighter that's crossing the bridge as a developing fighter into a pay-per-view name or making those big fights. They can cross now to Dazn, right, without seeking an outside promotion. Yeah, so great. Now on this contract, it is said that there's going to be at least one pay-per-view fight, and I'm wondering who that might be. I'm thinking Adam Azim. Adam Azim, who Ben Shalom says it's a title fight for him. They're looking for next, and then Dalton Smith, right, on pay-per-view. So yeah, great news for Ben Shalom, and all the best for him, man. He's shown great resilience for a young promoter in the game, fairly new to the game as well. And yeah, he's definitely made for it. He is definitely made for it without a shadow of a doubt. But now it's for him to, you know, show longevity now, you know, especially in a very dangerous time with Zuffa lurking around, my guys, my people. Great news for Ben Shalom. Great news. And now, in terms of Zuffa boxing, Dana White is still saying that he is going to be the one heading the promotions for Tyson Fury and AJ. He says that he knows where the fight is going to take place, so he knows the venue and location. However, how come Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren don't? All right, he seems to know so much about this that I don't know. Should I believe him? I don't know. Dana White, he's a bit of a chameleon, so I don't know whether to believe him or not. But check this, according to Lance Pugmire and also the boxing scene, they say that this fight is being targeted for Las Vegas, or is it LA? For LA at the Sufi Stadium. I don't know the Sufi Stadium. It's my first time hearing of it, but I hear it's a good location, and it holds around 70,000 or so in capacity. So yeah, it looks like AJ and Fury are heading to the US, man, to the US. And if you are Turkey, the man putting your money to bring this fight into fruition, you gotta have the privilege to stage it where you want it. Otherwise, it's middle fingers to everybody, isn't it? The middle fingers to everybody. You put up the cash, you control every goddamn thing. It's the name of the game, my guys, my people. Yeah, but Eddie Hearn says this fight has to be in the UK, so he's gonna fight his corner. Eddie Hearn definitely, he's a fighter. He's going to fight his corner. But yeah, in terms of Zuffa not being on his level, all right, no competition. There will be soon. They will be soon, as I can see. But with that said, that's all I have for you guys on this one. Before you leave, do like, do share, subscribe. Of course, drop your comments below. And as always, stay super blessed. And let's catch up on the next one. Stay blessed, my guys, my people. We are out there. Stay blessed.